Welcome everyone to our Friday in the kitchen. Today we are making a soup that goes back in my family a long time. And I remember my grandmother making it, my mom makes it. I'm learning from my mom, and it's like the recipe is a little of this and a little of that. So I've done my best to quantify everything, of course. And this is our borscht, or some people call it beet soup, and that's why I have my gloves on. So my family, my grandfather on my mom's side, he had this big backyard, and it was full of potatoes. He grew potatoes all summer. And when I think of borscht, and I think of dill, which is one of my favorite herbs, but that was one of my favorites. Now, I don't do cream anymore, but we all are finding that even when you're plant-based, you can still do your own version of cream, like a cashew cream. And there you have it. So it's a plant-based sour cream. Welcome everyone to our Friday in the kitchen. Today we are making a soup that goes back in my family a long time. And I remember my grandmother making it, my mom makes it. I'm learning from my mom, and it's like the recipe is a little of this and a little of that. So I've done my best to quantify everything, of course. And this is our borscht, or some people call it beet soup. And that's why I have my gloves on, so that I don't get the beet juice all over my hands while I'm doing the cutting the beets. And, you know, my family, my grandfather on my mom's side, he had this big backyard, and it was full of potatoes. He grew potatoes all summer. And when I think of borscht, and I think of dill, which is one of my favorite herbs, I think of my grandfather in the summer, because we would go and we would get these potatoes, and my grandmother would make borscht, and we would just eat the baby potatoes with some cream and dill. Oh my gosh, a little bit of onion. But that was one of my favorite. Now, I don't do cream anymore, but we all are finding that even when you're plant-based, you can still do your own version of cream, like a cashew cream, which is what we're going to do today. So this is super simple, totally easy to do. I have my pot, because I'm making a big batch. I've got a batch on the stove cooking right now. I got a small one. So guess who's eating borscht for the next?
Bring some. Yummy.
All right. I have an onion here. I'm just going to chop this onion up. And what I do is I leave the end that has the, what do you call it? This frizzy stuff. Oh my God, the stem, like this, not the stems. Oh my gosh, the other side. And then I'm going to cut it in half. I cut up the end, cut it in half, and then that way it's easy to peel the skin off, and you can get whatever layer of skin you need to get off. And I'm doing this all here because I want to show you just how quick and easy it is to make a soup. It's no fuss. You don't have to put a lot of effort into it. And you get this delicious, delicious soup. And even, I don't think you have to worry about overcooking it for the most part. You can always add a little bit more liquid. And as you're cooking it, it really becomes nice and melts the flavors together. All right, so I'm just doing a coarse cut. I'm literally going to cut this into 3, take the little end off and put it in my compost, and then just do a coarse cut here. I think I did 4 or 5 cuts. And look, I got a coarse diced onion that I can put in here. Same thing, I'm just going to do a coarse cut. This one I could do 4 because I have a little butt end where the, I think it's the hairs, those roots of the vegetable. That's what it is, the root. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that coarsely and pop it into my pot. You don't have to make as big a pot if you don't want. I have some beautiful potatoes that I have cut up here, or I've washed. So I've just washed them. I'm putting these in skins and all, okay? If you can, the skins have lots of great nutrients in them. So whenever you can do it with the skins on, keep the skins on. All right, so all I did was wash them, and now I'm going to just dice them. And again, just that so that you get bite-sized pieces. That's all it is, bite-sized pieces. Add some potatoes. Now, potatoes, if you've been with me for a while, you know potatoes are the hero, not the villain of our vegetables. It's one of the heroes. There's lots of heroes in vegetables. Potatoes get this bad rap for being a starchy vegetable and a white vegetable, but in fact, potatoes are one of the most nutrient-dense vegetables that we have. And you could live just off of them. And I've talked about Andrew Spudfit Taylor, and you can look him up if you want. But there's also the Irish potato famine, where basically people just survived off of potatoes, is also another example of how potatoes actually are amazing for us. So don't shy away from potatoes. They're good for you. And I don't know, I love them. It's one of my favorites. And it's like always looking for more ways to do potatoes. I could just put baked potatoes in the oven and we've got them. All right, so I have enough potatoes. I'm going to add in some beets. Now when I bought my beets, I got the beets, that have the stems on. So I washed them, I cut the stems off, washed the beets, I scrubbed them, and then I also scrubbed and washed the leaves, because we're going to use both parts. We're using the whole thing. And so for here, what I'm going to do is take off the stem and the root parts. And this is where you need the gloves. Now, I've got a few here, so let me do a couple. I'm going to get a couple going. And then I'm just going to cut this, like I did the potatoes, into bite-sized pieces. Now, the other way you can do this, and I'm leaving the skin on, and that was a lesson that I taught my mom, was to leave the skin on because you get more nutrients. There's a lot of nutrients in the skin. Now, if you have an aversion to beets to start with, and you might not like to have the skin in, because it does taste a little bit earthier. Although when I was visiting my parents, we made borscht together, my mom and I, and we left the skins on, and nobody noticed the difference. And my mom is ever grateful for really cutting back on the time it takes to make this now, because she doesn't have to peel them, and it's so messy to peel them. So we're not going to peel them. But if it really bothers you, peel them. But again, you're missing all the beautiful nutrients. And there was a study done on people with like arthritis and like in their joints. And they were looking at the kind of the geographic implications of arthritis. And they found that in the Slavic countries, they had less arthritis and less joint issues than they did in other places. And when they looked into it, the reason was because the Slavic countries tend to eat a lot of beets. And so beets are an amazing anti-inflammatory. Well, you can see by the beautiful color, and I got the beautiful color all over my cutting board as well. And so I think when that study was done was before beets and beetroot became popular or more widespread in North America, for sure. And of course, my family ate beet, mostly in borscht than anything else, but I know my mom oven cooks beets now. It's beautiful. And my background is actually Ukrainian, so that's where all this comes from. This is a standard, very typical soup that we would make from a cultural background. Right. So I cut up all my beets. I'm going to do some beautiful beet leaves. You should have seen me looking for the right beet. I was picking the beets based on how good the beet leaves were. And I got to say, some of them were pretty shabby. Some at least have, I'm going to take a couple ends off. But I'm going to add in some of the beet. And if you don't use them all, you can always juice them if you have a juicer, and they can make beautiful beet juice as well. Add that in. I'm going to use them all. You know, leaves like this, they shrivel up quite quickly when you put them in the hot water. They heat up. Put that in. And I'm just cutting them up. And I use the stems too as well. The stems are good. And so we're using the whole beet. That's exactly what we should be doing. All right. And then I've got my last ingredient here for this time. And this is some beans. So I have yellow beans. I never tried with green beans. I don't think it works the same, but I've washed these and I took off the ends. And when I wash beans, I take the ends off before I wash them. Usually now I take the ends off or do the cutting before I wash a lot of vegetables, like Brussels sprouts as well. It just seems to work better for me and be a little less tedious. So I'm going to add in probably all the beans because I don't want to waste them and put a few in the fridge. I'm going to fill up this pot. Yes. All right. And this, I have dill. I was using the dill to make my other soup. So now I've got dill on some of the beans here. Yum. Okay. Last little bit. That's, and of course, borscht would not be borscht without, at least in my end of the world, without some dill. So I'm going to put some dill in now, and I might put some extra in later. So let me get my dill. This dill had a lot of stems. Now, my mom said what she does, and I never tried this, so you could try it, is she puts the whole thing in with the stem and while it's cooking, and then she just takes it all out when it's finished cooking, like the stem part. But I like to kind of leave it all in, so I'm going to cut off the stems. All right. Just add some dill, and I don't think you can add too much dill. That's my opinion, but you know, you can look at your taste as well. And you can put in a little bit of the stems as well, the smaller stems. Just cut them off. When I'm making a dressing with dill, I just put the whole thing in there. So these are small stems, so I'm just gonna cut it all up. Now, if you wanted to, you could put garlic in here for another flavor, and you'll be shocked I'm not putting garlic in mine. But you could, if you want, put some garlic in. All right, Helene, we have all right. Okay, so then all I need to do, very simple, is take this. Look, I filled my pot up. I'm going to put some water, fill it up with water to cover my veggie. So I put the water in to cover, so it's coming close to the top. And I'm going to put that on to boil. And move my other stuff here. So putting those on to boil. And now we're going to work on the next part of the process once it's finished cooking. All right, this is the next part. So once it boils, you want to turn the temperature down to a medium low or whatever. Put your lid on and let it simmer for about 25 minutes or so until the beet and the potatoes are soft. So I'm going to check my other pot here. I've got boy. Oh, yeah. All right, so my pot, it's ready for the next phase. So in the next phase, just kind of for the last 5 minutes, I'm going to add in some green peas. Now, these are frozen peas. If you had fresh peas, I would put them in at the very beginning, but these are frozen. They're already cooked. So I'm just going to add them in now, really, to heat them up. And you don't have to add the peas. That's an option. But I like the peas. I'll let that boil, but I've also got some apple cider vinegar. That's where we're going to get some of our freshness from. And I'm going to make a cashew cream because in my culture, I know not every culture puts cream in their borscht, but we do. And of course, we're plant-based here, so we're going to add some cream to it. And if you don't do the cream, you could just leave it at that if you wanted. But I love it with the cream. So I'm making a pretty big batch. Like this is going to be a batch for both. I've got a cup of cashews that I've soaked. And we soak the cashews for two reasons. The first one is that they get grainy if we don't, that your sauce will be grainy if you don't soak them first. It's not as good that way. So we soak them. So about 4 hours. So, when you get up in the morning, you can, I put them in a measuring cup, fill it with water, and let it soak for about 4 hours. The other reason we do the soaking is because there are enzyme inhibitors on nuts and seeds, and if we soak them, we're going to remove those enzyme inhibitors. So if you ever see sprouted nuts or seeds, what it means is that they've removed those enzyme inhibitors as part of the processing that they've done. And the enzyme inhibitors are really to keep the nuts fresh and also from rotting and all that. But they are like an anti-nutrient for us. They're tough on our digestion. So if you have trouble with digesting nuts, you might want to try making sure that you take off soak them first. And you can reconstitute them and make them hard again by using a dehydrator for about 8 to 12 hours, or by putting them on a sheet, like a baking sheet, on a piece of a kitchen towel, and then letting them air dry. And when I did that version, it took me about 4 to 5 days here to really get them dry. But I just was patient. And then I'm just adding some water, and just enough to make a cream here. And that's it. Like, that's cashews and water. Now, if you're in a bind and you forgot to soak your nuts, you can put hot water on them and let them soak that way for a shorter time. It's not the ideal, but at least you get them soaked, and that'll help with the softening. All right, here we go. Our soup here. I'm going to bring it up front with me here. I've got my soup ready to go. I will put it back on the stove for a few minutes, but I just want to show you here. So I'm just going to add in, I've got a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar here that I'm adding in. Again, that gives it some brightness. Here. And I'm going to add in my cashew cream. I'm not using the whole thing because I made enough for both batches, and just enough to give it a nice color. All right. I don't know if you can see. Oh, I might give it a little more. I like the pink, more pinky. And then you can test for your apple cider vinegar if it's enough. Now, I didn't put any salt in here, so it'll probably usually take a little bit more apple cider vinegar to really give it the flavor to compensate for not having the salt, but that's actually a good thing. So I can show you there. I don't know if you can see. I don't want to dump it over.
They should be able to see. I just spotlighted you.
Sorry?
I just spotlighted you, so everybody should be able to see. Should make it bigger, the screen. It makes it bigger when you're on spotlight. So.
Great.
Okay.
I a little bit more of the cashew cream, and I can also add a little bit more. I'm just adding a bit more. I will probably add some lemon juice too for when I'm eating it, taking my bowl and eating it.
Oh, I want some right now.
Yeah. And so if you can let this kind of cook on the stove for a little bit longer. Yum. And I'm going to add a little bit more.
We're putting some nutritional yeast in it. That's what Juju wants to know.
Oh, you could if you wanted to, sure. I've
First
never done it that way. Juju, is that how you do yours? I've got a few like variations. You could add some different. I'm just adding a little bit more dill here.
Yes, she says yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you could actually just blend up the nutritional yeast in the cashew cream. Ooh, I like that idea. And then you're going to get a little nutty taste. Now, this one is a little bit thin yet. I would like it to cook a little longer before it's quite ready, but you can cook it as long as you want. I tend to prefer my soups cooked a little longer than shorter time. I like them nice and thick. Little more. You can always, like I said, add a little bit when you're serving as well. Then add it to your bowl.
What do you need?
Cider vinegar, or you could add in some.
But why would you do that? It would take away the taste of the beets.
It would.
And the whole purpose is to taste the beets.
Well, I'm not using any salt, so that's one of the reasons. You can still taste the beets. I'm going to put this back on the stove. I can cook a little longer, but my mom, what she does with her beets, how I cut them up, she actually puts them through her food processor to shred them. But I'm going to say this works just as well, and in my opinion, just to cut the beets. And I'm going to do it the quick and simple way, so I don't have to wash my food processor out. Definitely use the gloves if you're doing the food processor. That is how you make delicious borscht. It is really nutritious. You could add some maybe some white beans to it if you wanted to add more protein and make it more hearty. But I find that it's pretty good the way it is. When I know we use it for it becomes like a nice lunch meal for sure. Okay. So you do that, Juju. You do the beans in it as well. So you could just add, like I would just add a can of beans and let it cook for a little bit, and probably you could add them where they are. Oh, you do the food processor method, yeah. Yeah, you don't have to cook it as much. I would cook it always till the potatoes are soft is really what you want to do. And the one that I'm making, the one that I made with you guys here, it's going to be thicker because I put way more vegetables in. So you can vary it. You know, if you like a thinner soup, you don't put as many vegetables in and you put more water in. And yeah, you could blend it after to kind of make it more, thicken it up and make it more of a less chunky. So there's lots of ways that you can do it. All right. So let me get my bowl and do a little taste test here.
Looks good, Debbie.
Yeah, looks good.
You had a question?
I
I actually have a question. I have a question too. So,
Go ahead. I'm just getting my soup.
so my mom, my grandma made this soup, and it was the prettiest color. And when she made it, she kept it in a big glass jar in the fridge, and it was the prettiest light pink color. And after she passed away, my mom tried to make it, and she made it with lemon juice and cream, and it curdled. And I think it scarred her. And so I was really interested, like when you said that your mom was making it too, or made it too. So is there a way to make it where the lemon juice and the cream, how I can try it without having it curdle?
Well, if you use a cashew cream, you're good. That'll be good because it didn't curdle for me. But if you want to use cream, not my recommendation. I'll ask my mom to confirm. But I think what you need to do is make sure that the cream is heated, or that you take some of the soup first, a little bit of the soup, and blend it in with the cream to heat it a bit so it doesn't just curdle right away. But I'm going to check because my mom makes it with She makes it with cream for my dad. It was really when I come, she makes it with cashew cream for me, right? So she does know how to make it. So Kat, I've got to figure that out. I have a little dollop of sour cream to put on the top of mine. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of dill, fresh dill here to the top. And it is ready to eat. And yeah, so this, you could make it a hot, like a rosier pink. It's really up to you how much cashew cream you put in.
Oh, that looks so beautiful.
And there you have it. So the cream, the sour cream, when it melts, will also make it a redder color, like a rosier color as well. And when I say sour cream, it's a plant-based sour cream. I will pop the recipe. I don't have it there right now, but I'm going to pop the recipe into the recipe that I made. It's so easy. I'm going to give a shout out to Pacha Vega Living Foods Education because it is her recipe and I don't need to mess with what already works, but it's really cashews with water, apple cider vinegar, and I can't remember what. It's just as simple as what we made. You can make your own cashew sour cream. So I'll pop that recipe in as well for you. And Patricia, did you have a question I didn't get?
No, I just said it looks really, really good. Yes.
Thank you. And it tastes good. And Helene, here, you even have the beets so that you can definitely still get the beet taste for sure. All right. Yeah. Kathy, try the cashew cream instead of real cream if you can. But I'll check with my mom because I know she makes it all the time.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, okay, let me get the recipe for you. So I've got a lot of, let me see where it is. There is the recipe for you. I'm going to do a shout out for my event that I'm doing next week as well. It is the Nervous System Nutrition Revolution. We are going to be here on Wednesday from 11 a.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern. And on Thursday, same time, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Actually, at 10:45, we're going to do a nervous system practice to give you about 10 minutes to really regulate your nervous system, because we only take things in when our nervous system is regulated. So if your nervous system is, you're kind of in that survival mode, which we all know is called fight and flight, you're not able to take in all of the information because your thinking brain is offline. So we're going to do a little practice from 10:45 to 11. And then at 11, we have some experts coming to share their knowledge and wisdom. On Wednesday, it's all about the nervous system. And Thursday, we're doing feminine rhythm and hormones and nutrition as well. So I'm looking forward to it. We have some experts on women's hormones and how they work, which is really important. It really drives a lot of things. So if you're interested, it's totally free to come sign up. I just popped the link in for that as well if you want to take part in that as well. And even if you can't come for the whole thing, you can come, and you can only come for a little bit. That's okay too. Just come. Even if you just come and do the nervous system practice with us, that would be amazing. You're welcome anytime for whatever you can partake in. All right. Any questions? So everyone, have an amazing weekend, amazing day. And I know you know what I'm going to be having for lunch, even dinner today. Bye now.